If you enjoyed this show, then make sure you check out the other great shows on the Legion Podcast Network, like Cinema Psyops, Cinema Beef, Devour the Podcast, Duncan and Bo Come Correct, Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, Friday the 13th, Get Slayed, The Hellming Power Hour, Hello, This is the Doom Show, Hero Hero Go Show, Kill the Cast, Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, Jerry Hates Action, Legion After Dark, Mental Health, Obsessive Cinema, Discourse, Pick 6 Movies, the podcast by The Cemetery, the podcast on Haunted Hill, the Psychosemantic Podcast, Rick Radio, House of Wax, Dude Looks Like the 80s, Rabbit and Red Radio, the Shadecast, Short Bus Cinema, 2 Drink Minimum Commentaries, the VD Clinic, Who Will Survive Horror Podcast, and Witch vs. the Doomsday Clock. With such a wide spread of shows, there is guaranteed to be a niche for you to fall in love with. Horror, politics, movies, books, sex, music, commentaries, health, video games, kaiju, action, news, comedy, and opinions that would most likely get you killed in some parts of the world. We are proud to bring you some of the best podcasting in the world. Check us out at www.legionpodcast.com, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and any other dark corner of the internet where podcasts can be found.
Years and still going strong.
Everybody's a suspect!
You're listening to Rabbit and Red.
Robert Shaw was a tough motherfucker.
Right.
They don't make that anymore. He wanted to punch Richard Dreyfuss on the set he couldn't stand because he's a pussy.
Fuck you.
God damn you.
Welcome to Rabbit and Red Radio.
And I know that you like Jason Takes Manhattan, but my question to you is, why?
Okay, hey, pal. Okay, you're gonna tell me Halloween. You know what makes me mad about you, Mike? I'm gonna kill you one day.
Yes.
You know what makes me mad? The Halloween 6, Halloween effing 6 is your favorite movie?
Oh,
where he was conceived.
And I see myself with
Hey, Mike, how about this?
Yeah.
Hey, welcome here to Rabbit and Red Radio. I'm your host, Vincent Paul. I am joined right now with Cody Robinson, Alex Edwards, and Michael J. We got a great show tonight that Mike wanted to do because Mike, for whatever reason, said, you know what, it's all about me. It's always been about me. Nobody's asked for this. So, hey, why not do a 10-year anniversary about a show that was popular for maybe 7 months? And we're going to just kiss about 7 months. And we're just going to kiss ass about how great I was. This is Michael J's mind. And how awesome it was. It didn't draw any money, by the way. And we're just going to jerk each other off. And that's what it's going to be.
No.
So welcome to Rabbit and Red.
Right. It's
10-year. Again, that has not ever been funny when you do it. And it never will.
Yeah, well,
but that's what
you can see me do it.
Hey, at least I don't have to be the one under the table this time.
It's only about maybe under 4. It was just sad. It's not a small dick joke. It's fucking terrible. Like, this is why I don't want to get in a whole religious thing, but God did that to him already. Already did that. Like, he couldn't give you anything else. He couldn't make up. Like, there's no brain. There's no looks. You got a small dick. That's fine. It's fucking. That's
I don't have.
That's all. Like you're handicapped and like top to bottom.
And I've been called baby dick, so it's not fun.
Top, middle, and bottom.
Yeah, and the worst part is he's been catfished by other like retarded women, like other disability women, like not good women. Like at least when people get catfished, it's usually like good-looking girl. They know that girl's out of her league. Mike got catfished by a fat retard. Catfish
had a rifle.
Of course I hopefully with a toe trigger. But that's the kind of shit like you don't fall for that anymore. Which
no.
Right?
No. It took you 40 years ago. I'm not falling for this again.
Fool me once.
I did fall for it again with someone a few states away.
They fooled you twice.
Yeah, well this one was like for like $5,000 or so.
Yeah, $5,000. And also, like, the other thing, too, is, well, that's my girlfriend. Oh, where does she live? Montana. Pennsylvania. It's over 2,500 miles away. Never met the girl. That's my girlfriend. Like, he's fucking, like, I know you have, silly spine disease, but, like, that's where it's like, you're retarded at times. And you shouldn't be. At least you're growing.
Fucking
That's what
silly
I'm
spine disease. I love this.
Silly spine disease. That's the
I
medical
think that's
term.
I think that's what those little freaks on the Fox News commercials always have. With this adorable blanket, and like, Jesus fucking, what are you?
Hey, his name's Alex.
Hey, it's Alec. With this adorable blanket for only $19.95. Nah, it's not gonna cure you, man. I'm $20 a month ain't gonna cure you, man. Even 50,000 of us chip in. I'm gonna go with that pillow for $40. Ain't wasting 20 on a cure that ain't gonna fucking do anything. So how do you want to go about this? Well, first, let's actually really, for people who, I know Rabbit and Red is still going. It has come back with Mike and Cody. I want to know the backstory on you, Cody. Did you get first introduced to the then Skeleton Crew, or were you listening before then when it was Rabbit and Red, or how did you get into this into this realm?
It was actually through the Skeleton Crew.
Okay.
What it was, I came across the Sleepaway Camp sequels, 2 and 3. I'd never seen them before. And I watched them and, of course, wanted to find out more about them. And first thing that popped up was the Skeleton Crew's Sleepaway Camp retrospective. And that was my first podcast.
Wow.
And then I kind of started backtracking. I listened to a little bit of Rabbit and Red and of course, Banana Laser and several other podcasts.
Yeah, and that's where, and that was back what? That was a horror bid.
Yeah, back in the horror bid days. 2012, Alex?
Yeah, that's about all we
around there.
lasted.
Yeah. Well, no,
Because by the summertime, that dude bought it out, right? By August, September.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the dude that was trying to pick up chicks on the side.
Yeah. Remember that? We did a whole thing on him. Yeah, horrordomain.com guy.
Oh, who I think Rich Style used to say that guy Dumpster Dives goes behind that. Allegedly, I should say allegedly. I'm not telling this. With Dumpster Dive and steal props that were thrown away. I don't know. I don't know it to be true. I think that's. But yeah, that was. I always thought this was such a hard. It showed me what a horrible business move that guy was who purchased. Horrorbid.com actually at the time was easily I'd say top 5 when it came to a horror website to go to for. Look, news was okay. Let's honestly, there was false reporting at times, never by us, by the way. I got blamed for one by one guy. I'm glad you're out of the closet. I fucking called that. Who gives a shit? What was that pussy's name? Tom. Well, you guys should check your sources.
Tom Normandy.
Yeah. Check your fucking blood work, dude, because that may not come back good one day. Oopsie. Oh, fuck. What is he going to do? What is it? I'm fucking better than him. Fucking no talent. Man. Well,
he's getting married in a couple months.
Good. Yeah, but I don't care whatever.
Oh, my God. You're so talked to him. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but as a person, it was just dude, I went out of my way to be nice to you. Hey, let's help these guys out. I was one of you back when we had on Horror Bid. Hey,
I remember that.
Another show on. Let's have another. I was more about that. Let's have more people on here. Let's actually make it a real network.
Right.
And let's not for nothing. How many people would do that? I didn't have that ego. I'm so afraid there might be nobody's gonna. And we should all feel this way about what we can do. And this is what pisses me off about. That's why I'm not going to listen to anything horror related for the most part out there because nobody has a personality. Nobody has anything. They have nothing. They're nobody. Say what you want. I know I can be abrasive. I don't fucking care. This is who I am. I'm unapologetic about it. I know when I'm wrong. I know when I'm right. But nobody ever is going to have the same type of charisma if I'm talking about something that I care about. With my honesty, I'm not going to bullshit anything. And that's what would piss me off. And that's why the show, by the way, started. That's why 2 reasons why Rabbit and Red started. I listened, and this show was very popular. And these 2 guys were interviewing a famous horror actor. And all they would ask him about is one movie he was in. And this guy did a ton of movies. And I remember thinking, if I was interviewing him, I'd be asking about his time with George Clooney, what it was like on this and that. And I said, well, why can't I? I should do something. And Mike and I had a mutual guy we knew. I knew him first. He was tried to do comedy, and he would do a podcast. This was back in late 2009, early 2010, and it was on a site, Blog Talk Radio, and that's where I had the idea one night in the summer. And this is what I was saying before we recorded. This is how stupid we were. We didn't know we were stupid, but all of us we were all stupid. Well, of course, many times we all did dumb shit and acted like children. And we've all become better after that and much more mature, especially Alex and I. We fucking, all we had to do was like, I was wrong. Yeah, I was wrong too. Okay, good. Like, that's what two guys do. Like that's the beginning and end of that story. But this is how idiotic we were, naive. And this is all me. I call Mike, go, hey, Mike, let's do a podcast. All right, what do you want to talk about? I don't know, but we'll go on Blog Talk Radio. Let me preference this with some context. Blog Talk Radio was live. There wasn't no editing. It was, okay, you can start at, you had different services. The basic was free. So, okay, we can only give you 10 p.m. to 11. I believe that the time they gave you a free hour. Right. I was like, all right.
Yeah.
So we do this. Yeah. And I wanted Alex. I was the one to say, well, let's get Alex on. I know he knows horror. He has this Friday the 13th message board that was popular. Yeah. And you really ran that thing. You always had anything you've done in horror, you've always had success. And that needs to be known. Whatever you touch, it was you generated. And I'll always fucking respect that. So Alex comes on, and Alex comes like you had with, like, now I'm sure, like, I hope you look back at this with a little bit of cringe, like I do with my cringe and stuff, like, oh, you came in with a ball of fire, like, guys, because I'm like, Alex got to come on, do the show. He's like, hey, Friday 13th coming up this Friday. Cody, you'll love this. Alex comes in. He goes, it's around 4 or 5 p.m. on a Friday. Friday 13th, I think it was August 13th. Yeah, that's what it was. Because I think I get the call from Mike. I think Mike calls me or texts me. Anyways, like, Alex has 3 interviews lined up tonight. Like, oh, wow. Wow, 3. And it's a live show for 2 hours because Mike was paying for the service at this point. I think we got 2 hours.
No, I wasn't paying. I think you were.
Not at that time. Yeah, I forget who, but we had 2 hours from 9 to 11.
Definitely. Yeah.
And this is how fucking naive and stupid we were. We barely know how to have a conversation. And we're going to do our first 3 interviews live, on air, live. No screener for 2 hours.
And no questions written down or anything. Like,
no.
Holy shit.
And was it Miguel Nunez was the first person who was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Holy shit. And boom, all three guys were great. And Alex did and then Alex got the bug. And this is where the hurt feel, like my insecurities came in. And it wasn't against you personally, Alex. At the time in 2010, I developed, like, actually before this, I developed stage fright of doing comedy. I couldn't get on stage anymore. I got scared. I was a fucking pussy. I couldn't, like, oh my God, I can't go up. But I still want to talk in front of a microphone, but there can't be people there. I'll do a podcast. And I think my frustration from that, and you had this passion for it, and I was just getting annoyed by everything. That's where we started clashing. And you had great ideas, but I was just like, no. I'm just fucking, like, that's me. I am very, I'm miserable at times. And I wasn't really easy to deal with. And I'm somebody, I love confrontation, not in the way you would think, but confrontation to actually resolve the problem. Right. Not to, like, well, fuck you. And I think if anything, looking back, what we went through, especially Harbit, when we went to Harbit, that was actually the worst thing that could have happened. This is how bad everything was. Like, by the way, this should show you not how quote unquote great what we did was. No, how shitty horror podcasts were and still are for the most part. We had less than 3 months experience, and we're on the top 5, horror website promoted.
Right.
Fucking interviewing Tony Todd, Danielle Harris,
Adrian King.
Adrian King Otter.
The director of Halloween 2.
Rick Rosenthal.
Oh, yeah, Rosenthal.
We had
Adam Green and stuff like that.
And then Mike and
there was so many fights.
Yeah, because Mike was a fucking war.
The Spanish
that
zombie.
I owned everything. Oh yeah, I'll get to that. I owned everything with Alex, and we worked worked out. And what's great about our workout was we both meant it. We both because there was always respect there. And I think whatever fueled us with our disagreements made us both better, especially Alex. Fucking boom, whatever. And now we look back and okay, yeah, it's done. And we're over it. And there's no animosity. But with Mike at the time,
I'm so over that.
Yeah, but you actually got off easy for the couple months you were away from the show. Cody, this is what you probably should thank me for, because I broke Mike out of this habit. So Mike's on an ego trip and we got to face it. I'm not being mean, Mike. I'm just
maybe on some life I was.
You were. Look, you had, and I'm not.
I mean, the interviews were that
they were good, but
no other podcast that was doing that.
That's true, but I'm seeing it from your perspective. Mike is booking all these guests, and for the first time, Mike, who's probably always looked down at being different because of your disability, and it sucks. I'm being honest. And you actually have recognition and respect, and people are like, "Oh my God, this guy's doing good," and you are accomplishing something. Your films were shitty. There's just shitty films.
Well,
people
I was gonna say, isn't that when he started getting all the stuff you're talking about? No,
yeah,
I could have sworn
something that is actually respectable. You're doing something respectable, and it goes to his head. So this is how much it went to Mike's head. He's all about, I have to get a guest, no matter who it is. We're not going to turn down anybody. So he sends an email I got this guy booked. I look of course, as the producer that I really was. Because I was editing the shows, putting them all together. But I gave Mike the producer because, again, that's what we do to the special guy. We're you're the producer. I'm a producer. Mike sends the email. I look up the dude. I search him up. This motherfucker can only speak Spanish. So tell Mike, Mike, this guy only speaks Spanish, right? I did not know that, sir. And he still wanted him on the show. He tried to fight to have this guy on the show still for at least a couple minutes.
But I did cancel it. Initially, I think.
Habla no inglés.
That's the one time we needed Alex on the show, badly.
Yeah, I got one of my girlfriends talk to him.
Get somebody in here, Alex, to speak Spanish for this guy who's in some zombie Mexican film. But that's what it was, and that's what made it fun. And I think we all went on our different ways for many reasons. And when it ended, I think the success Alex and Mike had with the Skeleton Crew really flourished and shined, but it sucked that it was the horror bid went away. Because and again, to think about this, I might have grown as a person. I know that. I think we all have, but I've always been abrasive. I didn't change who I was. What you got before that show started while it was going on was me. And we all got over with an audience that didn't know us. And I always thought they were going to hate us. And I'm actually proud of that. That people, and if we could all be proud of one thing, if there's one thing I could ever be proud of, and it's something maybe I shouldn't be, but it's just because I'm being myself. So I shouldn't be proud of it, but I am, was I didn't apologize. I'm not going to mention her name. She worked for a sponsor that we didn't get any money from, by the way. That was a sponsor of horrorbid.com because I made light of women in horror.
I remember that. Wow.
And the show was 3 hours long. We used to do 3 hour long shows because you're like, that makes sense. But somehow the fucking people listened. Holy shit. And I know they listened because I made this comment about women in horror.
You thought you were safe because you were at the 2 hour 37 minute mark. You're like, well, no.
I didn't even care because the way Mike would do the news, usually do it at the end. And I would always tell Mike, I don't want to, just tell me, bring it up when you bring it up. I don't want to prep for this shit.
I think we were trying to be like Howard Stern. Let's have the news at the end like Robin.
It really wasn't meant to, but it kind of turned out that way. Yeah. But yeah, Mike brings up a story and he goes, sir, did you know it's Women in Horror Month? And this was February of 2011. And I said, well, that's stupid. Why would you take over Black History Month for Women in Horror Month? I said that's disrespectful, if anything. I said, if you're going to do it, you should do it in May because May is also Mother's Day. It's a longer month. And it's just a dumb idea to do it in February. That's all it was. And I meant it. I still do. I get an email, or it's forwarded to me. It's bad when it gets forwarded. and you're a part of it. And it's this long diatribe. Blah, blah, blah. I listened to your, and it's like, quote unquote, podcast. I'm not an idiot. I knew that shit was over. It was over 2 hours into the show. I'm like, yeah, you did listen. You did listen to 3 hours of a show until I said something that this woman created. So the long and short was, Justin, who owned Horror Bed, told me to talk to her and smooth it out. She wanted an apology. I go, I'm not apologizing because I meant what I said. And she comes back with, I can't believe you're not going to apologize. And I said, I can't believe you don't understand that somebody can actually stand for what they believe in. It's a stupid idea. It's a stupid thing to me. That's cool if you're into it, but it's not for me. I'm not apologizing for my statements because I meant what I said. They never lost a sponsor. And if anything, I wish more people doing these shows, and that's what, and I'll stop talking real shortly. I know I'm taking it over. That's what frustrates me about a lot. There's no passion with a lot of you guys out there and women. You're all fucking sissies. Seriously, you've got your fake righteousness about stuff. When people, and they start trying to talk about politics, and they all sound like this, like just a smorgasbord of a bad message board. Like you don't know what you're talking about. You have no passion. You have no enthusiasm. And you're talking about the same stuff everybody has, but with the same direction, the same insight. I don't respect a lot of people who like, how do you fucking watch 3 horror movies a day? Like, how do you fucking do that? There's so much more to life.
People do that.
And that's what it's repulsive to me that this is what bothers me. They don't have talent. And then I see the people like, I like that. And they get maybe 50 or 60 people listening each show. You got to build an audience. It is tough. But they think that's a fucking accomplishment. Like you gotta be self-aware. Like, I know I'm a fucking asshole to many people. I know I can come off conceited, but I can fucking back it up too. Because I've accomplished a lot. And that's what I want from people. Especially, I want fucking passion for people doing a show. If you're talking about horror and I know you're passionate about it, fucking sound passionate. Just don't go, and Jeepers Creepers 2. I really thought Justin Long should have made a bigger appearance. Maybe they shouldn't have killed him off. And it's like, fucking no. Nobody wants to hear that. And like, how can I respect somebody? A lot of these dudes, too, man. If you look at their girls that they're with, holy shit, they post. Like, how do you walk around with a girl that's like 300 pounds with pride? Again, I'm not going to respect that. Just, like I fucking can't. That's the dog shit, and somebody that's like part of me. I wish I could get on one of these networks, but I know these fucking pussies. I said there's something. And we see it in the writings. I don't want to. I'm not going to name specific names because they're not here to defend themselves. But there's a reason I don't go on Twitter because there's one like just he really is a sissy, and all he does is rant about politics and women's wrestling. Like, dude, no matter how fucking hard you try. Nobody's ever going to like you. Like the black people you're trying to love so much are not going to respect you because you're not you. And that's what bothers me is their fake righteousness about political stuff. And they don't know. They live in a bubble. Like, how about you just treat people as individuals based on their character? That's what we all should be doing. And that's where I got so driven away from horror in general, because everybody thinks they're standing for something when they don't know what they're really standing for or even know the topic they're trying to talk about. That's what bothers me. And that's why, at least what we did, we were all fucking honest about it. And anytime we fucked up on the show, we fucking called each other out on it. Mm-hmm. That's one thing I'm always be proud of. And okay, sometimes feelings were hurt, but holy shit, did Mike take the brunt of it and took it like a champ. And by the way, last thing I want to say, I'll just go along. This needs to be said. Mike puts up, I always bust Mike's balls. Mike puts up with a lot of shit. He really does. He takes care of his mother, who's dreadfully sick. No, I'm serious. Mike, I'm not making a joke here. You actually take care of her. You go through a lot of fucking shit. You had to deal with this. You pretty much helped take over a lot when your father passed away. Basically. And nobody knows that about Mike. They look at him and we all make the jokes, and Mike wants to be the brunt of the joke because he wants the attention, and the attention is there to lift the pain that he has to go through. I respect you, Mike, and I love you. And I've known you since 2006. And that's what I want more people to know about Mike Sankovich, is that everything that he does, he goes through a lot of pain. And I never once, we hear this as a cliche, but this is fucking true. I never once heard Mike complain about anything. And that's why
I've been complaining.
Well, you know what? When you have to clean your mother's shit and it's getting on your hands, I'd fucking beat her with a fucking bat. And Alex knows the same thing too. And that's why I've been, if anything, I'm grateful still have you as friends. And sometimes I'm not very good with my emotion and expressing that, but don't ever think that I've never not been grateful, and especially the gifts I received and the times when I needed somebody, you were there. So I truly appreciate that, and I know I'm not easy to deal with. So I just want to thank you for that.
That's emotional. It almost seems like a mic drop moment.
It's not everything I do is a mic drop moment, except for my pants and fucking dick hardly works anymore. And I fucking pop a Viagra now.
Yeah, welcome to your 40s, bud.
Oh no, he's not 40 yet.
He's not 40. He's younger than us.
What?
Yeah.
What I realized is they're not a 12-year-old Filipino boy, so that's really the main issue.
You keep realizing that. You're like, oh, well, Mike, what's your response to that emotional?
I mean, it's emotional to say the least.
Did he just walk down the hallway of Laurie Strode and Halloween too?
Yeah, I told her to stop fucking on Twitter. It's enough already. We get it. You're mad.
Also, just in case you guys didn't get the other 874 tweets, I want to tell you something. Yeah.
Yeah.
For my experience with Rabbit Red, it was great when it was good and we were all having a great time, and actually doing the show, it's remembered fondly to me. I just have shame in like my behavior and like how I handled certain things and stuff I didn't realize at the time because I just felt like, oh well, I'm on the show, so how come everything I do isn't accepted here? And knowing like
I was an asshole too. I was a dry drunk. That's the term for it. It really is, because I don't drink anymore. I was a dry drunk.
Yeah, but like there were times when I really, and listening back, I wasn't really good at anything really. I mean, I was passionate and stuff like that, but
you were better than Michael J.
Believe it that he had strong points.
Like dick sucked.
Get my dick sucked. Yeah, he had strong points. He was at least like technically good, at talking horror and stuff like that. I don't know what I was really doing on that show or why you still wanted me. After
I think you were excited. I think no, seriously. I knew you had passion. I knew I was a diehard. I grew up loving Howard Stern, but in 2000 I fell in love with really Opie and Anthony show, but it was Anthony Cumia and Jim Norton were such huge influence. But we both came from that same type of background of like our love for those type of personality.
Right.
And yeah, to this day, it's everything could have been handled differently, but we learned from it. But one of the best fucking decisions ever made was, dude, you got to do this. Oh. Even when we had our little falling outs, whatever, and it sometimes got bad. And I do want to say this, and I'm not saying this to make myself look good. I'll say it because he knows. Rich Style, this is what I knew. Like, I never hated you at all. Never had hatred. I was not furious. I was like pissed. I was like, motherfucker, like, come on. This is what I knew. I definitely never hated you. Rich wanted to pull some bullshit. He's like, I'm going to get Alex back. I'm like, what are you going to do? Oh, I'm going to put. He was going to put, and I think he later on did it a year later. I never talked to him since, by the way.
Right.
He posted something with now your wife.
Right.
Like he showed it to me. I go, don't. I still have the Facebook conversation. I said, fuck no, that ain't fucking happening. It was like it's almost like the mafia law, like no women and children. Us, we ain't fucking. And also, like, let me be honest. If Alex's like now wife was she was 400 pounds, maybe I would have said like, all right. She's good looking. She's a beautiful woman. Like how the fuck am I going to like? No, you can't mock a beautiful woman. Like what the fuck you do? Because I know what his wife looks like. Like you can't. It's like there's a reason when couples swing, they're both good looking. She's not on the same. Like she's not on the same level, right? So it's like the same. Like you can't bring a 280-pound girl with like an Oklahoma Sooners jersey on to a swingers club. Expect to hook up with a girl like a size 2. You know what I'm saying? Like You can't barter that type of pussy. And that's when I knew, it was like, yo, I don't hate this guy. I don't, never did. But it was like, that was fucking wrong. And then when he did it, I was done. There's no fucking way. And it upset me. It upset me. He did that.
I don't think I even knew he did anything. So he did all that for nothing. And whoever knew me and saw what he did, they never came to me about it. So.
And plus, he was never involved. And this whole thing, it was just such a silly, that's what it was. It was just silly. It was like fucking two grown-ups.
Right.
That's the word. I don't like people who are homophobic, and that's why the word fag to me has nothing to do with gay people. Like what we were fags. We act cigarettes. That's what we act. We acted like two little man child, but we got over it. And Mike and I, holy shit, how many fights? Mike would walk off shows.
I know that.
Oh, that was great that one time, yes.
Mike used to walk off the Skeleton Crew, and he wasn't even mad at me. We would be talking, and I would just go to him, and it would be silence. I was like, guys, I think he left the building again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and your return in 2015 or so, you did that a lot.
Yeah, that was... but just... That was mother issues, I think.
Yeah, I think so. But, just to sum up, I don't want to drag this out or anything, but, I definitely, looking back, I understand Vince's position a lot more, and I don't even know if I would have handled someone as bad as me, as good as he handled it. Just trying to not have me in the Rick Rosenthal interview was the best idea he ever had, because I definitely would have fucked it up like I fucked most of them up, and I couldn't handle that. So
that was the only time I was honest. That was the only time I was actually direct, and that's when I felt bad, and the reason was, if we lived close enough where I could drive to see you, I would have no problem. And not just I'm so tough. No, I'd rather talk to you in person. So much more easier that way. Again, that's why I like confrontation. It's not about being violent or being mean. It's about resolving. That's how I look. It's tougher over the phone. And I know I said well, I don't want you asking them only Halloween 2 questions. You're like, that's not what I'm going to ask them. And I said, you're not. I almost positively said, you're not good at interviewing. You're not, and I was like, oh God, and that hurt. That actually hurt me to say fucking, because who the fuck am I to say when I fucking Barbara Walters over here,
dude,
fucking
you were right.
Downs.
Every time I threw in questions to anybody we were interviewing, they were fucking showstoppers. I was like, wow, how could I be that bad every time? So again,
I honestly don't remember them being. I really don't ever think of that. There wasn't
Stacey Nelkin one even.
That's the only one I can think of, because I was on a roll. I got her to talk about 3-ways, right? And I think out of nowhere, Alex does and I remember I did. Of course, you didn't see me. We didn't have webcams. I think I did. I'm drinking coffee, and at times smoking a cigarette, and I look like this. I go. Because we get in this deep conversation about love and lust and her doing 3-ways and shit, and she was cool. Yeah. And Alex goes, and Halloween 3, and I'm like, you brought me back to the horror world. I was on a road.
Dude, I had nothing, man.
I would love, this is, if we could do this one day, I would love Cody to be on for this. I would love, we need 2 other people as well that listened to the stuff back then. I want to rip our shit apart of how bad we were.
We should review our own shows.
Just one. And I got I remember listening to Opie and Anthony did that for their shows, and I'm like, oh my God, I would love to do the same thing, because it was so. If we listened back to our blog talk, it would just be like, oh God, stop it.
Well, I will say that you were good right away to me. I thought you had the gift of gab. You could make things flow. You always had a topic in your head, and I was always really impressed by that. And I think I just didn't know what to add. It almost had me for a loss. Well, I don't even know what to say. I mean, he's kind of covering everything, and then once it goes to me, that's why I wasn't really that good on Rabbit Red. I had my moments, but I wasn't really a strong cast player or anything like that. So
it's also tough too to keep in mind that we're not seeing each other, and that's what made the interviews tough, because we're not in the same room. Again, no cameras on each other, so we don't know when the next one's going to answer a question. it's hard to keep a rhythm that way. Yeah. And that's why I had that thing of thinking like maybe I should just do the interviews. And it wasn't an egotistical thing. It was, and that's why
I'm good.
Well, it wasn't. I never even thought that. I knew when you had, Mark Patton, and I feel bad to this day where I only told you to wrap it up because his audio was so bad, and I felt bad. I shouldn't have done that, but I shouldn't have. That wasn't my call. But the reason I wanted you to do that interview by yourself was like, you know so much. This is one of your favorite movies. You love it so much, and I would not like. You felt like you would be a show. No, I felt like there's no way I could not really do like a 50-50 interview with you on that, because that was yours. That was your shining moment of the interview, easily.
Yeah, that was my biggest one at the moment. Definitely.
And that was fun. I mean, remember the worst part of each show? I stopped this early on. So you two would do. No. You two would do this. Would be guilty of it. This is why I don't have a Twitter account. I barely post anything on Facebook. I would not look at the comments.
Oh yeah.
I was like, why would I want to do that?
Oh, I got ripped in a lot of comments. I remember that. They hated me. They're like you two guys.
I felt bad. Well, that's because Mike made a lot of fake accounts. None of us ever did. But I do remember. I stopped. I think I stopped because I felt fucking horrible. Like who would? I don't know. Because I'm thinking like, Alice doesn't suck. Why would somebody play? And that's what pissed me off. I was like, who the fuck are these people?
Well, here, listening back, and which I did one time, and not to like say I'm good or anything, but I got a lot better from, I guess, my standards at least. When I was on Skeleton Crew, I kind of like learned and studied my craft, I guess, if you want to call it that, and then I just kind of
natural. I think natural, right? Yeah. Yeah, you were just, that's what it was, because I think I would come, and that's what sucks. It's bad to somebody who loves to tell a joke. I was telling an inside joke only to me. I was doing a radio voice just for me, to be an asshole. But people would think that was me being professional. I'm like, dude, no, that's the joke. I would always come in, hey, this is Vincent Paul. I was doing that as a joke.
Right.
And people took it like, dude, this guy fucking sounds professional. Mm. No. Like I'm saying radio as a joke because it's a podcast. What asshole would call this? Again, inside joke that I thought was some people would get. Like, why would you call it radio? It's not on the radio. One time I gave the time and the weather. And I would purposely play songs to hit the post, like on the radio. But people took that as being professional. Like, no, I'm being an asshole on purpose.
You're deliberately being a hack.
Put a fucking music bed underneath on a reason. Like, yeah, this is what like they do that on those like Q whatever shows when they play like fake hip hop and R&B. They always have that music.
And I continue to do that even now, but
you're not entertaining, so you need a music bed.
Obviously, I need more than a music bed.
Mike, what are your favorite moments on Rabbit and Red? Like, what sticks out to you?
The one that I was actually just thinking about that just popped in my head. Back from Blog Talk, we were in the middle of doing one of those list shows that ran for like 3 hours or more, and I think it was like
I remember
3 or so shows you were doing. And there was, I guess you got hungry.
The 70s. We heard
you eating.
Oh, like God. Yeah, the fork was scraping the plate. Oh, my God.
Never bothered by that, and somebody made a comment. That's what it was. That's what set you off. I didn't care. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, who cares? And somebody made a comment. The clinging was annoying. Okay. Fuck her. Go back.
That was something. I wish we still had that. Do you have it somewhere?
Yeah, I have that still. Yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's what it was like. You don't want to. That's why it's like people starting shows today or doing them, or if you're doing them, you have to have some type of self-hate for yourself. Like what you like, but also the same like be self. That's why I say be self-aware. Know like what you suck at, and like if you fuck up, just okay, I fucked up. I don't know. To me, I like that. I like when somebody could be that honest and because if we're aware of it and you point it out, it just makes it better. Then like, oh, nobody wants to listen to somebody think, oh, I'm so great. Like, no, I'm a fuck up. Like that's why I used to. How many times did I admit on the show while I had a girlfriend I was cheating on my girlfriend? Like I'm a fucking piece of shit. I'm a piece of garbage. And I was never like, oh, I'm such a no. I'm a fucking dude. I'm cheating on my girlfriend. And I was bragging because I can get away with it. Like in the day of fucking social media. Like I've learned from that. I feel horrible. It doesn't. I don't do that anymore, and it's fucking tough. It's actually easier when you're single on purpose. But when I would be in a relationship, I'm better at like, no, it's okay. I'm not going to hurt this person's feelings. Again, like be self-aware. Like point out your flaws. Point out who you are as a person. And that's why it's again. Like we all love hard. That was our common bond, and that's what brought it together. And to see what like it is cool in a lot of ways that people can just turn on a microphone and do a show. That part I like. Also doesn't mean that everybody should be doing one, but I love the freedom, and the freedom should be the freedom to fail and get better and keep going, but never should somebody do 1 or 2 shows like, yeah, we're gonna get a website now and business cards. It's like that's how it was doing stand-up comedy in 2002 with I was an open micer in 2002, and I remember somebody telling me some new guy as well, just like as new as me. He was like, yeah, I'm gonna go get a website. Like you don't even have 5 minutes of material. Like why would you get a website? It's like he's like. That's the old put the cart before the horse shit. And that's what podcasts have turned into in some sense. But then there are really good ones out there. And it bothers me. There's some people I got to work with who are so fucking good and they don't do it anymore. And here's Michael J doing 12 fucking podcasts a week.
Well, I wouldn't say I do that much.
I do 11, sir. I'm not over it.
Well,
I get up at 5 in the morning and I clean my mother's shit. And then I watch Leave It to Beaver episodes.
Actually, that sounds
about right.
Leave It to Beaver isn't on until 8 and 8:30. And then Father Knows Best at 9 and 9:30.
I hope Black Lives Matter comes after those shows next.
No.
It's bad enough they took away the first 48 hours from me. God, I hope they take away that cracker family. The honkies every morning. They don't need that shit.
The Andersons and the Cleavers.
That really is white bread shit. Alex, your wife ever watch that show growing up? Leave It to Beaver.
No, I think that's way before her time, correct?
No, the joke would be Puerto Ricans do not watch that show.
But she's not Puerto Rican, is she? She didn't look it. Unless I'm mistaken.
Racist comment coming up in about 3 seconds from I can't hear you because I think you muted yourself.
Oh.
Yeah, there's still no audio.
Yeah, where's your audio?
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Jason.
Yeah, no, I'm serious. You have no audio.
Did he disconnect?
Yeah, he's gonna come back on.
I think he did. Oh, okay, I'm gonna have to ask him. I mean,
can you hear me now?
Yeah. Where are you?
All right.
There, I see.
I got to turn my video back.
I see something.
I'm ice cream. There we go.
Wait, is Cody here?
No, I don't see him either.
I think
something happened to all of us.
Okay, I'm gonna add him. Hold on. Oh wait, no, it says he's here.
Oh,
wait, hold on.
Cody?
Oh wait, here he is. All right, let me add him in.
Well, yeah, she's Puerto Rican, Mike. That's all part of my J-Lo fantasy I try to bring to life. You know, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have one of my own of those.
Yeah, and a lot of guys who have a younger woman, it's healthy to fantasize about a 50-year-old woman.
Yeah, my wife's 10 years younger, but I'm fantasizing about a chick who's 10 years older than me. How stupid am I?
Jennifer Lopez does look good. I mean, she looks good.
Oh,
her age?
like I told Alex before we started, like Alex is the only straight guy who likes J-Lo for her talent.
Yeah, I actually do like her movies and stuff.
Yeah. And that's what I don't get. I'm like, oh, like that's where him and I could, like, that's when we could still now. That's when we know we're healthy because we could bust each other's balls. I'm like, what the fuck you doing? Like, how do you, Geely? How do you like the Geely?
Yeah, but you see that one
Jersey
scene
girl?
where she was stretching, dude. I'm telling you, it's good.
I'm so warped
like
by
Donald
interracial
Pleasant.
porn that
Donald's
doesn't
like-
do anything. I'm messed up.
I'm just upset that Mike has no longer has a fascination with Danielle Harris. I mean, wasn't that our whole thing back then? And now look at you. Remember when you actually said you would kill Donald or something like that to get to Danielle Harris,
Yes.
right?
I came up with that.
Yeah.
Do you have that somewhere?
Oh yeah, you play it all the time, like on something. Like you had it as
I
a
have to
thing.
find that now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I trapped Mike into that, which is not hard, by the way. I trapped Mike into saying he would kill Donald Pleasance,
Right.
which is very easy.
And now he's still obsessed with Donald, yet the sexual part of his psyche is no longer an interest for him.
No.
And, you know, like if there's one interview I am proud of that I was able to do, one, it was actually interview Danielle Harris was nice because she was doing a bunch of interviews that day. I believe it was for Hatchet 2. And really kind. I think we got her for 20 minutes. We got her longer than expected. It was a fun interview. She was cool. But in my mind, I never told Mike this, but I'm like, I had a mission. I was gonna get that lady to admit she would never fuck a horror fan, a Halloween diehard. Like, I'm gonna get her to admit that. And sure enough, she admitted that.
Oh, she admitted it.
That's where the spiral started with Mike.
Yeah, I love it. She was very cool. And honestly, all the people who got the interview, none of them were ever rude. They were, from my experience, and then the Skeleton Crew, you got to interview people I never got a chance to, but you got to interview people you're like, Bill Moseley would have been fun to talk to.
Oh, that was great.
And
yeah.
I know that got, because I talked to Dan Chase about that, and he said you were thrilled with that one. And that was,
That
Dan
was
Chase,
an amazing one.
yeah, but Dan Chase told me that you were nervous at first because he called and Alex said, "This from Dan." And he goes, "Mr. Bill."
Oh, I played that clip on the show 100 times. Yeah,
that is funny.
Yeah, it was. We had interviews, but that was like the biggest. And he answers. I go, "Hi, Mr. Bill." Like what I meant to say was Mr. Moseley, but I think for a split second his name escaped me, so I just said Bill. I was like, "Mr. Bill." Yeah.
Well,
and then
that's the. There's certain interviews too. Dick Warlock, unexpectedly. So we got the chance, and we just didn't continue with him because I wasn't doing a show enough. But Derek over at michaelmyers.net has always been a gentleman. He was always great to work with, never an issue. He was really, and you know what? Feedback, I was still to this day shocked. We always got positive feedback doing the show on that site because, again, they're very diehard. We only want to hear, and I was going to change.
That's all they
want
to hear. Yeah.
But they were cool. They were accepting. And again, I use the term you got to get over with that audience, and I got over. I'll give I don't know fucking how, but I think if you I'd rather fail as myself than succeed as being somebody I'm not. We should all be that way. But I got to interview Dick Warlock, and I was, oh my God, Dick Warlock. I remember I just started back doing the corporate grind thing, and Mike called me. I had to step outside. And they get Dick Warlock. We got this locked in. I'm like, okay. Like, holy shit, I was nervous. And, I would always research each guest. One thing I didn't know, and I didn't find, there's no way to find this out. There was an article. This is very personal. I complimented Dick with, hey, you got your 2 kids. They're in the business. I said, well, we haven't talked in 15 years. You go, oh, fuck.
Wow.
Shit. And he wasn't mean about it. Like, I felt like, oh, God, I brought up an old wound.
Yeah, right.
And
he didn't have to say that on the show. He could have just said, yeah, they are. And that's it.
No, he was honest. And I said, I remember I said something like, I don't know the situation, but because he sounded kind of beat up about it. Like he was always blaming himself. I said, you had a great, you were always providing for them. You were doing everything you could. You worked a lot to give a lifestyle, I'm sure. And he goes, you're right, I did, you know. And I learned from it, and it was like back on track. It felt like, oh my God. And then we had a great conversation after the show. And the biggest, I shouldn't say big surprise, Doug Bradley, cool motherfucker.
Dude, I have a story with him. We were at Monster Mania.
Did you fuck him?
Yeah. He stuck his pins in the hole of my dick.
Hey, a real pinhead.
So we were online. It's me and my buddy Jerry and his girl. And we started talk. There was the line.
Jerry
Vitetta, yeah. The line literally was one of the longest in the big room. It was over 75, 100 people. I think it even went down the hallway after you get out of the room. So I guess for some reason, like, the people were so nervous they weren't talking. They were just getting their shit signed. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I just started saying something to him. I joked around about something. And then he looked at me, and then he really liked what I think I made a joke about, like Hellraiser 4. I don't know what I said. The one where they're in space. So then from there, he started talking about, that whole thing. And then we started getting into, I swear to God, he talked to us for 15 minutes while people were like, what the fuck? Come on, man. Can I get my thing? Like, what's going on here? And literally, as he kept talking, I started going like, and I started looking around. I was like, oh my God.
I gotta go, Doug.
Yeah, these people are gonna fucking murder us.
The line of Horse Shack is dying down.
Yeah, but it was crazy. But I guess the point is that he was so nice and engaging and wanted to talk to me.
Yeah, that's what I got too. And he was, like, that's what. Never had a bad moment with people. Dee Wallace was another one, just so great. And she said something, like, I didn't expect her to say it, because you think of this very nice, lovely woman, and she said one of the most cockiest but yet truest lines that stuck with me. Don't apologize for being good at something. Oh, yes! You shouldn't. And it's so simple to me, but I didn't expect her to say that. But it's true. You shouldn't apologize if you're good at something.
I keep telling Mike to stop apologizing for those Blu-rays he makes, but he just keeps saying, I'm sorry, here's another 30. And I'm like, Mike, you gotta stop.
Wouldn't it be a great joke? We call the FBI on him.
I'm not making money, so we're good.
Are you sure about that?
They raid his house. This guy will be he'll be locked away for the next 35 years, dude. You'll be done.
They take his mother's prosthetic leg for bail.
They take the pants for evidence. Oh my God!
Anybody touches those pants, I'll kill them.
He gets pinned for 43 rapes.
We're still looking for the body.
Yeah, well, that's the pant. That's on the pants alone.
Oh my God! You're funny.
Now, Cody, how do you like? What's the most annoying thing working with Mike besides him probably always being late? Do every show.
Knock on wood. I mean,
it's a tough track from the kitchen to the bedroom.
Well, watching him try to open a beer, I mean, that was pretty painful.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
He has cripple hands. It's great. Constantly in a claw.
Well, no, I didn't know if it was a twist top or not, and I just.
No, if there's one thing, Vince, which I know because you've both done interviews with Mike before, his inability to speak during an interview.
Yeah.
Oh, Cody, you just reminded me of a great. Alex, you weren't here for this. This is when we were on Devil's Eyes, and I was working, like 2012. I was again deep in the shit. Like, work came first. The show's like whatever.
Right.
Cody, you always have to, if Mike's doing an interview, it's your interview. You have to know this. So there's
I figured it out the hard way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because Mike will not.
Don't wait for him to talk,
I tried to talk, but it's just they're too intimidating.
No. Before when we first started talking about doing our first interview, which was on the second episode we did together.
Yeah, the second episode, yeah.
I said, okay, Mike. But, man, I've never done an interview before. I'm not really comfortable with this. I know in the past, like when you were doing Morbidly Made with John Rhodes, when we do interviews there, John would always do all the talking. I'm like, man, I don't think I can carry an interview, so I'm going to need some backup. He's like, I'll even talk on this one. Yeah, he said like 3 words in a half hour.
Yeah, it was probably hi, thank you, goodbye. That's all he has. There was it reminded me of this. I felt like, okay, here's the context story. I'm running 43 corporate stores. I got a lot on my plate, to say the least. Starting this whole thing up. And now I feel like I'm micromanaging a shitty fucking podcast. So Rich Style and Mike are going to do 2 interviews this day. And I believe it was a Wednesday or a Thursday, whatever it was. And they're in the afternoon. I'm working because that's what you do when you're an adult. You're at work. Alex knows this. And I ask who they are, and I go, "Oh, wow! I really actually wish I could, be a part of this." Because the one guy I wanted to talk to, because I knew a comic who knew this guy, and he was really funny, great fucking improv skills, talented guy. Mike interviews. This was very disrespectful. Mike's person. I was like, I don't know who he is, so I'll interview him. He interviews Pat Healy, probably more famously known, I guess, for with the horror film Cheap Thrill.
Sure.
That was for the Innkeepers. That's right.
Yes, it was the Innkeepers. Worst interview. Under 5 minutes.
That's all we had, though.
Mouth. No, he probably said 20. He goes, oh, you know what? They're giving the wrap it up side.
His PR guy was listening. His PR guy was listening.
Yeah. That's why it was 5 minutes. Holy shit! If a Make-A-Wish kid could talk to John Cena, that's what it would have sounded like. But the Make-A-Wish kid didn't know who John Cena was. That's what it would have. It was horrifically bad. And I think I'm positive I yelled at Mike. I motherfucked him.
Did you air that interview, Mike?
I think it did. I think Rich did air it because Rich was doing editing and stuff.
Oh
at the
God,
time. I wasn't doing it.
It was
Sure it did go on.
I think one of the questions was, it was so fucking just beyond basic.
How did you hear about Morbidly Made?
No. It was on the realms of what got you into acting. Oh boy, that's a real barn burner there.
He's like, oh wow, that's a good question.
Nobody's ever asked me that. The guy's worked with so many well-known comics up until this point, and if he did a little bit of research on the guy, he had a YouTube channel. You could have got something.
Hold on. Here's what happened. I
didn't give a fuck
for the Innkeepers, and they said, interview him. We sent you a screener, just interview him and all that stuff. So that's why that happened, because I got a screener, so he ended up on the show.
Now let me ask you: did you watch the screener before you interviewed him?
No, I made 20 copies first.
It's all these years later.
Sorry, what was that? You did or didn't?
Did not. He did not watch it.
I still haven't watched it.
Wow.
And it's all these years later.
Yeah, Cody, he has gotten
I still have it
better, overall, even as a person. But the shit we would have to deal with, and then his attitude, his, Alex and I could go back and forth, I know I was wrong. And that's the funny thing. Alex and I could both admit, I was fucked up. No, man, that was more fucked up on my part. And Mike's over here I was an angel. I don't remember.
You guys were screwed up, man.
I don't remember crying about. I don't remember doing a Indiegogo for my shitty never got made and took people's.
Wait, what did I do?
Money never made.
Did I do an Indiegogo? Yes, I did. Yeah, for the Camp Out Nightmare remake. I paid $100.
And Justin of Horribid, Justin felt bad he could not pay me to do the show. I never asked for money. I said, it'd be good if we could get a sponsor. I could do reads. I know I could put over anybody's product. Ease. I could sound professional. And whatever the circumstances of that came, he sent me a authentic Freddy Krueger glove.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I gave that glove to Mike. Go, Mike. Sell the glove. Use this as a donation for your film. And film has never been made.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
although Eric Morse still posted my fucking script online.
Yeah, he leaked the script. Can you believe that? Now everybody knows the movie before.
Yeah, and the ending still hasn't changed.
They had to change the ending 3 times already. They said because they kept getting leaked.
No, I never changed it. Oh no, wait.
Hey, Alex, I saw that posted on E Online Entertainment. They had a big to do about it for a week.
Oh god, it was like when that Wolverine movie got leaked without the effects being finished. It was the same thing, same storyline.
Even bigger. Even bigger. Just
We'll see. Well, because that came out Nightmare Arena. That was my baby. I started that in 1988.
Yeah. They led with the Wolverine story, and then the big grand finale. They kept you there until you watched all the commercials, and then you saw Mike's segment.
Yeah, and this is another thing too. Cody should also be thankful for. We're going to actually prep you on the thing, or just we want you to beat in. We're going to beat into your head the things you're going to be thankful. You don't have to deal with the feuds that either I started or Alex would start with. We really were fucking.
Oh, I was
vicious.
Dude. Oh yeah, yeah, you were.
Like and that's why it's like when we guess for whatever. Battle each other, like, yeah, whatever. But then we would focus on somebody else. They were fucked. They were fucked.
Yeah, at least we gave it to each other for a lot of those years, and then like once we weren't, then it just went off to other people. Then it went back to us. Went off, went back. It was an interesting time.
Never a dull moment.
No.
Yeah, but Alex attacked Eric. Eric, he's one of those. He's.
Yeah, that was not my fault. I was just having a good time with him on my show. I don't know what the problem was.
I don't think he's mentally all there. I don't know if there's a condition. And I'm not making a joke, but put it this way.
His Crystal Lake novels. He did good with those.
Mother's Day.
Apparently he can write, but
I bought the movie.
There's something. Mentally, I think he's unstable.
He's socially inept.
That too.
Who? Eric Morse or Mike?
Both, but mostly Eric Morse. Eric once claimed that he discovered the Soska sisters, and I go, I don't think that happened.
Discovered, stopped. There's a thin line between you.
Yeah.
One of the two. It kind of gets muddled with the details and the facts. But Eric, I think it was Alex. I go to Alex like, why would you do that? Like even me, like. He made fun of his tattoo or something. It was spelled wrong. I think he had a misspelled of a tattoo.
Oh,
was it that?
Well, no. The big falling. The big falling out with me and Eric Morse is that he was friends with me for years, but of course that's a long arm's length, and that's how that lasted so long. So all of a sudden, the first time I have real contact with him is when he goes, "Hey, listen, I want to promote something. Would you mind? I go on this show. Your show's pretty popular. I think it would really help me out." I was like, "Yeah, okay." So we have him on. And he starts telling these bullshit stories about things he did in college, these fake pranks that I know he really didn't do.
I listened to that. That was I think that was.
Yeah, skeleton.
I don't say this to be rude or anything. I hardly listen to anybody's podcast because I really don't have time. Yeah. But I purposely am like, I gotta fucking listen to this. Dan Chase told me like, you gotta listen to it. I'm gonna fucking listen to this. And whatever little bit of like, we had our little rufflings or whatever. I was like, fucking Alex is hysterically funny. At first, I was trying to be on the side of Eric. I'm like, oh, he's picking on a retarded guy. And I'm like, no, that's fucking funny because you're baiting him the whole time. Like,
oh yeah, and he kept going for it. I was like, wow, he still doesn't get what I'm doing. This is fascinating.
What was the bullshit story about like the something with the principal's office or the dean's office?
He glued a urinal or something or
yes,
something. Right?
It was a glue. Like first off, maybe he misused adhesive. There's adhesive. You could use adhesive to keep it with. Then glue a urinal. First off, who buys a urinal?
Yeah, he glued a urinal to a principal's wall in his office or something like that, right? Is that what it was? And this all sounded like something out of an 80s like college movie.
That's what it was. It was like it was a bad. He wrote Porky's 4. It never got picked up, and he said, "Fuck it, I am going to
tell it in the first person.
Whoever wants to listen, I am going to tell this story."
And now he was hit by the car.
Hit by the car, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah. And I was laughing at him. I thought it was a funny story, which I thought is what he was trying to sort of get across, but I also didn't believe him, so I thought it was cool to laugh that he was getting hit by the car and stuff. So I just kept laughing and going with it, and he started to get this whole feeling, wow, these guys are listening, they're laughing, they're engaged, they're
accepted. He felt accepted.
He felt accepted. So
by the cool kids at the lunch table.
Listen to me. He was thrilled by the time that interview was over. He thought he fucking murdered it on the show. He's like, man, I can't wait till people hear it. So about 2 days after it was released, he comes to me. He goes, hey, man, you were totally fucking making a joke out of me. And I was like, what? I was like, what do you mean, dude? Come on, we're friends. He goes, no, my friends listened to it, and they were like, what the fuck, dude? You sound like a total bozo. And I was like, well, you're the one who said this shit. I was just reacting to you. Why is this my fault? You could have said normal things on my show, and we just would have went on with a normal interview. But you started talking all this dumb shit, so I just felt I had to take your stuff and now make it work for my audience. That's what I did, and everybody seemed to like it except you and your friends. So I don't know what to tell you.
And the one story that he told was so, and I'm not trying to sound mean, but it was like you knew it was fake. Where he told this story where he asked a girl on a date and she accepted. I'm like, come on, like that didn't happen.
You liar!
It's lies like that.
Come on, somebody has to believe something.
I wanted to, I guess, because I told Mike this, and I said I'm half kidding last night, but we knew I wasn't. I said I'm going to take over the show. Why wouldn't I? I think we're going to end. We're going to end. We're older now, but I wanted to bring something to the context of how we all got here. Anyway, for you guys, have been doing it a lot longer than I have, and I actually in a couple months I'm actually going to start watching horror again. Quick thing on that was I did the whole. Do I really love Halloween 2? And since I'm not married, I said, marriage is, to me, I respect marriage. You truly love the person, you're committed. And I'm not married, but do I love Halloween 2? Now, this is also not close to being married, but I wanted to see if I loved it. I'm going to watch it once a day, every day for a full calendar year, and I did. Sometimes I did, but there's sometimes that would include, it would be in the background while I'm in, whether it was in my office or in my bedroom doing work, it would be on the TV at least one time a day.
Halloween 6?
Halloween 2. So it didn't mean I was like, not every single time was I glued to the TV watching it, but it was always at least once a day. I got start to finish. It was on the background. The reason I would do this too, I was working from home and I'm working about 11 hours a day. So you're by yourself, like I could do this. I didn't get tired of it. And then I got so out, and I don't know if it was my health. I don't think it was like put things in perspective, like, oh, there's so much more to life. I just stopped giving a shit about, I think I got burned out with horror. So I said, I'm going to take 2 years off. 2 years now, almost 3. I'm not really watching horror. I'm going to come back to it. I think that's going to be more of a healthier break. And it was like stupid of me because in that time I picked up another, I learned more. I read books, sissy shit. I do think that's healthy also to take a break if you can. If you feel you're getting burned out with anything, to come back to it, it should come back stronger. I don't know. I don't even know what my first movie is going to be. I think if anything, I should watch something brand new, not go back to something old. Right. And I think it makes the most sense. But what I was going to end with is. Whoever wants to go first, I'll go last on this, is with horror, how much we love it. What was a moment that's associated your love of horror with also embarrassing at the same time, where it's like, I'm a nerd. Like, and we accept nerdiness, we accept being a geek, and it showed because of our love of horror so much. Or I'll tell my story, because I have a couple, but I know there's one Alex would appreciate. I'll tell mine them first to kind of, because I think, and this is like, it showed what a weirdo I was, and also like just a virgin too. I was a virgin when this happened. I worked at a place like a knockoff Chuck E. Cheese. It finally closed down a couple years ago, where I grew up in outside the city.
Was it Showbiz Pizza?
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't a crazy place like that. I'm not that much of a dago. It was like a kid's place, like a wannabe Chuck E. Cheese, and it was always kids my age working there, 16, 17-year-olds from high school. There was this girl that everybody thought was hot. She went to my high school. She was a year older than me, so this was in the summer of 1998, and she was going to be a senior that year, and I was going to be a junior. And she started working at this place called Happy Times. Alex, she looked like a close image to Selma Hayek from Dusk Till Dawn.
Wow.
Body and everything. I'll show you go on classmates.com, show you a photo of this girl, what she looked like then. So this is in the summer of '98. I'm behind the counter with her. We're working the food part of the business, and I'm doing the cashier work. She's grabbing the food, and it's slow. And she tells me, the girl, she says, "Hey, we're talking about movies." And I said, "Oh, I can't wait to go out. I want to see Halloween, H2O. I can't wait to see it." She goes, "Oh, we should go." I'm like, "Okay, cool. Yeah, I would love to go." Thinking like I just want to see the movie. Right. She's asked me on a date. I said, "Oh, what do you want to see?" It comes out, I was like, "We'll go Saturday." Yeah, Saturday. And I'll never like Saturday be good because my parents aren't home, and we'll go. And this is what a nerd I was. I wasn't even driving yet. I was 16. I didn't have a license yet. He's like, "I'll pick you up." Okay. She drove a Camaro. It was like a '94 Camaro. She's like a badass chick. Like she was. Again, I'm naive. I'm a virgin. I'm still taping things off my VCR from the Spice Channel. Right. That's my Saturday. So she picks me up to go to the movies. This was and by the way, the second time I saw this movie. The first time was 2 weeks came out because my best friend growing up worked at the AMC Theater in Northeast Philly that we grew up going to. And he was an usher, so you got to see it before they came out. I got to see I see it now with a hot girl. She holds my hand midway through the movie. I'm like, I was annoyed. Like, I can't eat popcorn with one hand and hold the bag. So, okay, I'm like, okay, I'll hold the hand. Like, you're annoying me. And then, the movie ends, and she's like, "Yeah, I thought that was pretty good." I'm like, "Oh, that was horrible. Like, how do you chop the guy? Like, you don't chop Michael Myers' head." I'm going on this tangent. Get in her car. She has to, we hang a left, and we're heading back to, the direction of my house. And she says, "Hey, if you want, we can go back to my house." She lives 5 miles away from me. Like, she has to go past my house for us to go to her house. So it's going to be out of the way for her to drive me back. And she goes, "Yeah, we can go back to my house because my parents aren't home." This is what a fucking nerd I was. I was so upset because Jamie Lee Curtis chopped off Michael Myers' head, which, by the way, fictional character. And I said, "No, that's all right. I just want to go home." Oh. I fucking cock-blocked myself at 16 for hot Spanish pussy.
You're like,
that's what a fucking
I don't even
horror.
feel like I'm still pissed. Yeah. I don't even feel like hanging out.
And you know what? Looking back, probably the best decision I ever made because I knew I wasn't going to be able to handle that. I know I couldn't have handled. I probably would have did one of this. If anything, I saved myself from embarrassment. So that's the start off. Who wants to go? I think that is a prime definition of being such a horror fanatic. You're a nerd, and you're not that's just not being self-aware for your love of horror takes over your life.
I have to have the question. I have to add this. When you saw H2O, and when Nurse Marion went into...
Well, I picked up the fake Donald voice the first time I saw it in the premiere.
Yeah, I know that.
No, but I picked up on
that. I get that.
And I had to look it up on the internet back then. It's not to find. But yeah, sorry.
That's no. What I mean is when they went into her office and did the close up.
No, I didn't cry it off.
This picture.
I might cock-block myself with hot Spanish pussy, but I'm also not stupid enough to go, guy's dead. Old people die. He died at a rape age of 114. What a shame.
Actually, it was 75.
Oh, you mean in Loomis's jerk-off room where there's pictures of Michael everywhere?
Yeah. Oh, Michael. Yeah. Michael.
I love this shot right here. Oh yeah, baby. Oh, that tombstone on the bed, that still does it to me.
Just going to stick this picture right here, in this picture right here, in this picture right here.
Yeah. And anywhere else there's cum, picture right here. Oh, man. Mike, you must have a nerd story about horror.
I mean, I think everything that I've done basically
classifies you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's one that you said it would kind of ruin something for you? Whether it was, I don't know, put it this way: every time you get in a family photo, you ruin it just because of how you look. So, did you ever ruin Christmas? Like for instance, did you ever put on? I don't even know this, but I'm just going to take a guess. Did you ever put on Halloween 6 at a Christmas party and fucking ruin the mood? Seriously, in front of your family, you got to watch this.
I did.
Or one of your movies.
When I was with Kathy, when we were together, and the relationship was somewhat good. Now she was
Kathy, by the way, was Kathy was somebody that Mike actually dated, had a real legit relationship with, had such a hairy pussy that it smelled like piss. Allegedly.
Sweat and piss.
Oh, that's the worst. When it smells like that. armpit piss smell. Ugh.
Yeah, and by the way, Mike should point out how awesome Alex and I both look and how healthy we look, and Mike's just still a pile of fat shit with bitch tits.
Basically.
It's odd though, because your shoulders kind of look skinny, but you could tell that it just like.
Well, it's the green screen. See, that green screen. Let me get a more classy green.
No, not you, Mike. I mean, and he has a natural screen. His shoulders, like, and his neck looks skinny, as if he lost weight, right?
But now, I'm in a route. Peaceful.
That's a race ride. It's a race ride.
Yeah, he's at the race ride.
Just a peaceful protest. Just a couple white people dead. Peaceful. I see peacefulness. So what was going on with yours? So with Kathy.
Well, so we were. What was it? Yeah, she didn't believe because somebody said how I was like obsessed with Donald and really upset about him dying. So, we put on the end of Halloween 6, and she was in the room and she was sitting next to me. She didn't like horror to begin with, but she didn't believe that I could like break down with the whole Donald thing. So we were watching the thing where he's like,
okay, I just want to. Well, I want
business
details about this. How long at this point are you two dating?
Are
you friends?
3 to 5 months, somewhere in that.
So, also at this point, were you already physical with each other? Have you? At this point,
basically,
physical therapy
was probably making out was probably
the most
at that point.
So she watched. Yeah. Is this the first time she ever saw you cry? Like cry, by the way. Cry. The Mike cry is like the real Mike cry. And let me just
It's the breathing. It's the breathing in and out, right?
By the way, I sat next to Mike for nearly 2 hours with his father, who was dead in a casket, at least 10 feet away, 20 feet away. Mike had no emotion. But you put on I got Mike to laugh at his dad's funeral because I whispered at Mike, "Hey, Mike, give me $5 to go up to the casket, pull your dad out, and start shaking around, going, 'Hey, everybody's alive!'" And Mike starts laughing, crying. But Mike had, he hides his emotions with that. But if you put on a scene like Rocky 2 and stupid Rocky is talking to dumb Adrian with her stupid womb. Hey, you gonna have the baby? I know I'm retarded, and Mike will cry. He will.
or
we'll do that.
It isn't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit.
And that's how you live your life, right? Yeah, let's cry.
Yeah.
And he got hit hard, just so you know, by life.
Yeah.
So
God hates him. Okay, so you cry in front of her, like really?
Well, no. What happened was
like a sissy,
we
like
didn't
a little
watch the whole
sissy.
movie.
Yeah,
We
but you
just watched
cry.
that ending.
Yeah, but you cry, and you do cry
But
like
when I start.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah, but she didn't. The thing is, when I started, she got up and she said, "I think I'm gonna go." And she walked out of the room.
That is great. That is the greatest story you've ever told.
I think I'm gonna go.
And tried.
That is fucking phenomenal. I love this girl.
And then the best was, after it was over, I rewound it and watched this scene again. And cried again.
So her leaving had no effect. You don't care.
No, he was like, "Oh, now that distraction's out of the way, let's get back to the business here," and he put the Donald back on.
Now that thing with no dick is out of the room.
Hey, Dickless, get lost! Don't come back.
Come back when you got a pair.
Cody, what's your story? Because I'm sort of drawing a blank because I was with a bunch of enablers. So you might want to fill in this gap. I think we got exactly 10 minutes left. So
I don't have anything really good. I guess Freddy versus Jason. What was that? 03 or 04?
2003.
2003. I remember being so psyched up for that, and I'm at work on Friday and going to see the premiere Friday night. And I'm with a couple of my coworkers, and I'm just gushing about this movie, saying, can't wait to see Freddy versus Jason. Sucks that Kane Hodder's not playing Jason. And they're looking at me like I'm a fucking idiot, of course.
They're like, who?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. But and when I tell people that I saw H2O 10 times at the theater, that usually does it.
Yeah, I learned early on not to really, just get all emotional to people who are not into this, because there's no way you're going to look good. Yeah, you just look like a jackass, no matter what.
It's like you ever try to talk sports to a guy, like nobody talks sports to a guy named Winthorpe because he doesn't know anything about sports. You're not going to be able to talk about like the Jets draft pick. Actually, Alex, you may not have a story, but I remember a story you told once that it really made me laugh. And I want to see if you were, it's something we can all relate to too, by the way. You worked in a video store, I believe, as a kid. There's this cool, you thought this guy was cool, like an older dude, like a couple years older than you. You thought this guy was the coolest dude. We all had like one of those growing up, like that guy 3 years,
4 years older than you.
Yeah, like that guy's fucking cool. And you saw him do something that coolness, he had a particular videos in his hand.
Oh yeah, we worked at a video store and there was a porn section. So he took a video out, it was porn, and then I didn't think nothing of it, but I knew, I was like, wow, look, he just took a porno, wow. So he comes back and I see him put it back on the shelf, and it was pretty obvious which one was his. I saw him slide it. It's like probably third one over, whatever. So he walks away, so I walk up to it and I take it down. I was like, wow, what's this? And it said twice as hard. And I was like, whatever. All those names are stupid. So I go and I put it in my bag and I bring it home. And I'm like, wow, I'm gonna watch the movie this guy watched. It must be cool. So I put it on, and this girl is sucking this guy's dick, and then all of a sudden she pulls her pants down and her dick pops out. And I'm like,
I know, fucking hot, right?
So I guess that was what twice as hard meant. I thought it might be like two guys banging a chick or something. I don't know. Or
it could be about math and sex.
Yeah, you have to solve these problems while we're fucking. I'm gonna write it on my forehead. You just do the long division. Yeah, like I didn't know what to think. So I remember coming back and I was like, I look at him, I was like, ha, and I just hid the tape behind my back. I just stuffed it back on the shelf and made like nothing happen, man. But yeah, it was disturbing, and I never felt the same way. But
did you ever like try to bring something up to him, like
I think that.
Not about that, but
yeah, I think he didn't know what it was. I can't imagine he would have deliberately watched something like that. And I'm sure he watched the first scene and just turned it off
and jerked off. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I have one when I was at the Jacket Video. I would we were always told, because most of the stuff there was porn, you rent it or you could buy. You never. Unless you knew the customer was a regular who would rent, sometimes a regular that you knew I would know everybody's taste. Whatever business I was in, even porn, I would know their taste. I never judged. I'm like, I know this guy. Boom, I know what he likes. And like a quick story would be, one of my regulars brought up 3 DVDs to rent, and I go, oh dude, by the way, this is training. What? Fuck, I didn't know. Swap it out for, because sometimes the box covers were actually that misleading. One day, a guy I never saw before, big, rough-looking, like construction working guy comes in and goes in the back. A couple minutes, drops off the DVD to the back counter. I take it. I look at him like, didn't expect, like tranny. But hey, I never saw this guy. I'm not gonna say, hey sir, this is I'm not gonna. I can't judge. He might be into that. Whatever. Bring him out. He comes back the next day. Smile on his face, goes, oh my God, look, I don't know if he can help me with this, but I did not know what this was. I thought it was something else. I go, not a problem. Hey, swap it out for something else. DVD's in mint condition. Looks like it wasn't even touched. Within 15 seconds, it feels like, drops another one on the back counter. It's Bear Party 3. It's like fucking just big hairy gay dude and a twink, which is like a twink looks like, you know, dying of AIDS, like the last stage of it. And I looked and like, makes sense. Why wouldn't it be? And he became a regular buyer of gay porn. And it was funny because he was around my height, like 6'3", but fucking just built, jacked, and a gruff voice. Like, dude, probably. It's funny, like you think the guy like on the job site, everyone's like, "Hey, look at that fag over there." He's like, "Yeah, look,
yeah, man,
look at that fag over there."
Wow, that's creepy, man. That's so weird. Like you think one thing, and all of a sudden he's doing something else. It's like, well, nothing. I just can't imagine. Like, I would have been really disturbed if when I put the tape in my VCR, if it started like right after both the guy and the girl just came and came on each other's faces.
How did you know where they finished?
Yeah, right, exactly. No. Yeah, that's where it was.
That was the old joke with when you rented like your friend would borrow porn, you always rewound the whole thing. You don't want to see where
he finished it, right?
Exactly.
Well,
always.
I said that about my dad because I used to sneak into his drawer and watch his videos, and then one day it occurred to me where I'm pressing play is where this guy just finished, and I'm just like, wow. No. So yeah, it's.
Would it make you feel better? It was always towards the acting parts.
Yeah,
deliver that line like Laurence Olivier.
She treats every movie like it's Shakespeare. This is amazing.
I don't know why this cunt can't find work. Well, I thought this was a very fun show. I haven't done one of these in, I think, 3 years. And if I offended anybody, by the way, I don't care. I don't. There's so much going on. Everybody should just have fun. Again, I think that's all I wanted to, like, that was my thing tonight, is just, like, if I could bring anything, just be who you are. Own that shit. Own who you are. Be self-aware. If you're doing a horror podcast, like, you can't hold back. I think we all learned a lesson early on. We all kind of held back in some ways. If you hold back, you're just hurting yourself. And don't care about hurting somebody's feelings. It also doesn't mean be a dick to somebody, just be a dick to them either. But if you're going to do this, if you're going to put a microphone in front of you, you got a voice, you have a microphone, you can really, you know what, you can say whatever you want. There's going to be consequences to it. It's going to happen. But fail being you, then, like I said, then try to succeed being something you're not. Because you're going to get exposed one day. So I think we all learned from that, doing this for as long as we have been doing it. But especially Mike and Alex, really long.
And just remember, guys, it's too hard to be somebody else, honestly. Like, even if you want to try to keep that up, you're going to forget. And you're going to be yourself anyway, so don't bother.
Yeah, how many times has Mike said anti-Semitic things when these microphones have just, oh my God, Mike, we get it. Yeah, the Jews really screwed you over that mortgage. Just knock it off already.
Very good.
Cody with his hatred towards Eskimos. I'm like, what the fuck did they ever do to you?
Yeah, it's really
Eskimos and their fucking eyes.
Fucking Mexicans on the ice. Like that doesn't. But this has been Rabbit and Red. I've been your host, Vincent.
Yes, you have.
I thought it was Mike.
Let me do the old outro. Again, I would do this.
What is the old outro? I don't even remember it.
Thanks again for listening to Rabbit and Red Radio. We will be here back next Thursday here on horrorbid.com. Remember, don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive. Take care. Yeah, again, it was just for me just to be a dick. Like,
right.
Like, I don't really mean that.
That was it. I remember that.
I do remember that.
Yeah. And I would purposely put on the fucking phony radio voice at specific times, and nobody would ever point me out on that. I wanted one person to say something and go, thank you for listening. Thank you for pointing that out. That was done on purpose. So, yes. But for Cody, Alex, for Mike, I am Vince. Thank you again for listening to Rabbit and Red. And these guys will be back here in the near future. Look for their next show that is coming out before July, because I know what they're telling me is going to be probably one of their biggest shows they've ever done. in a very long time in general for Mike himself, because he's putting together one of the biggest lists in horror history, as he told me himself.
Oh, God.
I don't know what that's going to be, but you have to wait and listen to find out what he's going to do. All that next Rabbit and Red.
The sequel.
Take care.
Nice. Good shot.
That was horrible. That was horrible. That was horrible. That was horrible.